Disagree. I disagree on that one, Dan.
I disagree. I think
completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. It really grinds my bones, doesn't it? It's really triggered me. But generally, in woodland games, get rid of that damn thing.
See, I like it.
Why?
I was at Lakes literally the other week.
Why?
And I'm going to take that point, Ed, and I'm going to just pose a scenario they're all going to be familiar with. So you don't think people... Welcome to the stream, everyone. It's been a while since I've done one. We've got old James kicking Mustang with us tonight, and we've got Ed, Silly Ghillie as well. So James, for those few people that probably don't know who you are now, who are you? What are you about? What trouble are you causing?
I'm an Airsoft sniper. I like ghillie suits, and I travel around shooting people and turn them into videos and put them on YouTube.
And then we have old Edward, Silly Ghillie. For the people that don't know you, obviously if they're on TikTok, they absolutely know who you are. But for everyone else, like, who is the humble Ed?
I think he said he was an editor sniper. Well, I'm actually a sniper editor. So yeah, basically we do the same thing. Except I'm on TikTok.
Maybe it's a generational thing.
I've heard about this TikTok thing. Is it something I download on my phone?
As I said at the beginning, so we the three of us were chatting the other day. Obviously, between James and Ed, they've got some new stuff coming out. And obviously between the three of us, we've all been doing sniping and airsoft in one way, shape or another for years. So I thought it'd be good to get on, chat about sniping, ghillies, tactics, gameplay for those that are interested. So no real structure to it. We're just gonna chat. But no questions so far, which is good. I think, and I'm still getting used to Facebook, you should be able to submit your questions and then I can bring them up in the stream. So every now and then we'll stop for questions. But I suppose the first thing I want to talk about is tactics. So obviously I've played with Ed, shot him in the head. Actually, that's a lie. I didn't shoot you in the head. I shot Kenny from Empire in the head. I just shot you in the grassy butt.
I've shot Ed in the head as well.
I mean, are you friends with Ed if you haven't shot him?
He smashed my GoPro.
That's true.
First world problems right there.
Ooh, hashtag me too. You were violated. So, James, we've played together. We've played at Mil Sims. We've gone to France. Obviously, we've played the OG Sniper Ops games.
I miss France. I've not been to... When was the last time we went to France? I haven't been since 2019.
It was the year before the pandemic, maybe the year before that. And that was when all of us went, you, me, we had Kenny, Hutchie, Simon, Brad, we had Camman, a load of us. Yeah. And obviously we had Sasha from Mantis Concept Brothers.
I think it was spring 2019 we all went.
Yeah, I remember we went in the summer because it was freaking hot. Stupid hot. And the year before that we went and it was just raining and humid.
I literally it was so hot, I literally fell asleep in a bush. And I woke up and the enemy team were all around me. And I've got a video there where I killed 40, 50 people from the bush. And that was because I fell asleep and literally lay there still for about an hour and then woke up.
Whoa, when
team spawning around me.
The last sniper ops we did, we got up at 3 a.m. to go lay there at dawn, and you both sort of just like that constantly. Yep. Every rustle of a leaf, you're like. But yes, the tactics wise. So Ed, obviously you've played a lot in England. Obviously you play quite frequently. James, for people that haven't played at France, obviously me and a few others have had the benefit. How would you describe and obviously you've played in a few other countries now. How would you describe international players versus UK players in terms of tactics? Not in terms of
tactics. Yeah. Oh, in terms of tactics, I think when we play in France, there does seem to be a high caliber of player. At least I've not been for a couple of years because of COVID, but the caliber of players and the skill level was higher. There was quite a lot of, even when we went to France, there's a lot of serving military guys from the Swiss Army who were there playing, and the skill level was very high. Like when we open fire and you hit people with a sniper, the first thing you hear is "Sniper!" and they all scatter and spread out. And
they flank.
It's not
like when we went. One thing I noticed is they flank. Like over here, they'll stand there and you'll shoot, and they'll move an inch, and then they'll go around like the same tree, and you'll get them from like 180 degrees. Whereas over there, you get a shot off, doesn't matter if you hit or miss. If there's someone else around, they're shouting, they're pointing, and they're charging you. And it was a lot harder.
Yeah, to be fair, but it depends where you go. Obviously, if you go to somewhere, if I go somewhere like the Chambers in Belgium, the level of player there is to be fair, pretty low. So you can go then. A lot of it's very similar to a UK skirmish. So a lot of the players are quite low standard, and this is obviously when you're making videos. You know,
I don't think it's
nice to have good-looking players, but it's obviously easier to play against not so clever players.
I think a lot of it. And Ed, you've done a few mil sims, so you'll be able to chime in on this. I think with over here, the most weekends, most sites, it's not so much the skill levels different. I think it's more people over here are doing it as just a really sort of in their free time hobby, that they're just going there, going through the motions, trying to have a good day, not take it too seriously. Whereas France, obviously everyone paid to be there. We all travel, we traveled 11 hours drive to get there.
Exactly.
So you're
That's
there,
exactly what it is.
and you're competitive.
The people don't. I don't think people in the UK realise just how big UK Airsoft is. There are there are more than 100 fields in the UK
easily,
and more than 100, and it's probably approaching 200, maybe something like that. And it's extraordinary how many fields there are to play. But you go to like South Africa, for example, there's probably a handful of fields in the whole of South Africa. And when you go to, and obviously France has probably got quite a few fields, but when you go to the Bear's Head, people tend to be travelling there for a reason. They tend to already be established airsofters. So I'll be going there again in June for an event, and I'll totally expect the level of play to be higher. The big thing you notice is when people get hit and they don't know where they're hit from. If they're an experienced player, they think, okay, that might be a ghillie sniper or a hidden player, and they tend to react in a more positive way. Whereas at a normal skirmish, or it's not because it is in the UK, but when we go to normal skirmishes in the UK, when you're invisible and you hit people, 9 out of 10 of them won't have a clue where they're getting hit from or how to react, because they're just not used to being hit from unseen positions.
Yeah, I think it's different, and it's certainly evolved from when obviously I started back in there and there was literally like one sniper a game. But Ed, going back to tactics, you've played at a few sites. I can't remember which one we were talking about the other week, but you play at some places that are pretty immersive, that have like vehicles and all sorts of stuff. Like, how do you find the people that are obviously going to those type of, is it a skirmish or is it like a soft mil sim or like a film sim style?
Yeah, they call it a ground war. It's basically, it's meant to be sort of in between a mil sim and a skirmish. Not really it's and like a step back from battle sim as well. So it's like a set lunch. But the site and the facilities and the vehicles, they all like obviously scream mil sim. So you get a lot of like quite high caliber players turning up, so teams that do take it quite seriously, and it's very good for filming, I have to admit, because not only is it like an amazing site for sniping, you've got like big open fields and then little bushes that you can hide in, and then you've got a really good arc, but it's good for filming as well, because all the players there are dressed to look the part, and obviously that looks really good on film. And it's also it's more of a challenge, and like you do get a bit bored of going to skirmishes every Sunday, and like a third of the field sometimes is players either rentals or two-tone guns, and it's not like, I'm sure they'll get into it and
well, everyone starts at a rental. Pretty much most people start at a rental at some point, don't they?
Yeah, it just doesn't feel fair, really, and especially when you're playing in a ghillie suit. Obviously, you have quite an advantage, especially if you know how to use it, and sniping in certain maps is an advantage. So
yeah. Well, speaking of tactics and ghillie suits,
Hutchie's trolling you, Ed. Hutchie's trolling you, saying you like to run around.
You were going to troll me if you didn't say that, James. No, yeah, I do. I run around at skirmishes because, to be honest, it's very hard. That's like the fields are made to sort of choke people into a choke point and make you all fight, and it's impossible to like lay in a bush and wait for people to walk past. So it's shoot or be shot at some of these skirmishes. But I don't always play like that. At places like Imperium, I'm a lot more slow and sneaky. But yeah, I do. That's just how I like to play.
The thing is, I think
Hutchie's not so good at running these days either, is he? To be fair, have you seen Hutchie run recently?
Yeah, of course. He carries a lot of equipment compared to me. He carries two pistols and about 6 pistol mags, which are heavy, and then he's got he's got a heavier loadout than me. So yeah,
he's definitely heavier. Yeah.
So obviously the main thing people have come to talk about is crafting. And obviously, I imagine a good portion of the people that have joined haven't just come to see my pretty face. They've come to hear about AGM.
Oh, when's AGM coming out?
Never. It's never coming out. It's a myth. Except we have pictures of it and videos of it working. But otherwise, it's a myth. But I've got some pictures of it. So let's start with... Which one is it? So, this is one of your pictures, Ed. So walk me through this. What's this? What's this? Enlighten all of us.
Well, this is going back to the running thing, really. It's a lightweight ghillie. It's a lycra top that I've crafted for playing with the MTW, which is like an M4 that people hate.
Is that, just to interrupt quick, one of the Jack Pike Evo Woodland? It is.
I wish I hadn't have used it because it's not the right base for it.
I've got one of them in the old Jack Pike pattern in a drawer, but it's not wick, it's cotton, so it's deceivingly hot.
Right. Yeah. Well, this is breathable, so this is wicking. It's what people wear. Most people, I think Mustang as well, you wear it under your suit, don't you, wicking?
Yeah.
And you can get camouflage versions, but I wish I had have used, like my idea behind it was like you'd have a dark base and then you'd have some really light cottons and you'd have like a strong sort of contrast, but it was too much. So I wish I had have used something like just a multicam or something I could modify.
Yeah, I'm more of a proponent of a light and colour base as possible, to be honest, these days. I've changed a bit. Like compared to a few years ago, I'd go for darker bases, but I think these days I tend to go lighter. Well,
the benefit of a light base is you can make it darker by adding to it, and it will naturally be darker depending on where you position yourself. Because I think, and I guarantee you guys will back me up on this, I have seen people wear either good pre-bought stuff, like some of the old Attacker Pencotties type stuff and some of the older North Mountain stuff with a few mods where they look all right, but then they position themselves under like the brightest beam of sun or a brown suit in like a rhododendron brush or whatever it's called. Whereas I think you can craft something poorly and position yourself effectively, whereas I think it's harder to craft exceptionally well and position poorly, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I could talk about crafting like the whole stream, and so could James, and we love talking about like what's the best materials and colours and everything to use. But the reality is that's only 50%, and it's easier to talk about those things than like tactics. But yeah.
Well, I remember.
Yeah, it's the same as guns, and it's the same. We shouldn't really say that G word. Should we? It's the same as riffs.
Pew pews.
Yeah, pew pews and riffs, because everybody loves to think they're getting the best upgrades and they got the best materials, the best ghillie suits. It's the same as in computer games. You want to think you've got. And I don't play Call of Duty. I play World of Warships a lot and wargaming games, and everybody wants the latest meta, the best combinations. And it's no different to ghillie crafting and gun tech, and everybody wants the best piston, the best of everything. But they don't. I mean, that obviously helps, but I've always seen these things as a multiplier of skill. So you could have an ultimate ghillie or an ultimate sniper riff, and you could give you 10 times skill. But if you've got 0 skill to start with, it doesn't matter what you're wearing, what you're using. If you don't have the skill, it doesn't matter. You're better off focusing on skill first, and then multiply that with equipment and clothing and riffs.
I like to turn up with a smile. Gives me a +20 charisma. Just works. So do we want to... Obviously, we've got ages. We're only 20 minutes in. We've had a few questions in. So do you guys want to hear some of the questions?
Go for it.
So, some Luxvi is asking James, what's the status on the KMCS stock?
KMCS stock sold out about 10 days ago. I think there are some Cobra hoods left. The reason is that because of what's going on in Russia and Ukraine, my tailor who I work with is based in Russia. You can imagine there's issues. We had made literally hundreds of KMCS suits were being made in the days running up to the conflict. There are literally hundreds of KMCS suits, Cobra hoods, covers, boot things, all sorts of meshes and leaves, and it's all there stuck behind customs, unfortunately. So right now, I couldn't tell you. I guess if someone can put something in Putin's tea and get this thing over and done with, it will open up. But until someone does something with Mr. Putin, I don't think we're going to see any stock in. I'll be surprised if we get anything this summer. Unfortunately, guys, I have to be straight and honest with you on this one.
I think it's a reasonable answer. Obviously, it's happened. It's not just the Russia thing. Obviously, for me personally, with my parts, like some of my projects, obviously I've had the WASP and stuff going on. They're not a problem. I've got factories, good relationship with them, able to get stuff at reason. Like I've taken quite a hit. Like I reduced my price on some of my products, and then everything went up in price because of COVID, and it's been a nightmare. Like some of my projects have simply been priced out now, where I couldn't sell it at retail. Like I wouldn't be able to sell it at a price that I think is reasonable. I'd have to sell it for something stupid, and I just won't do it. So I think people are pretty understanding of it. Like there's been a few companies, I think there was a few Airsoft ones, some of the guys that make the tack gear, and they come out and basically said, you know, Verstilika in, is that Norway or Finland? Yeah, they make like the Finpack camo, the mesh stuff. They put a thing out saying, look, we've held our prices for years. Shipping's extortionate. You know, everything's gone up. So we're just going to have to put everything up 15%. And it's the first price rise in like 6 years. And unfortunately, it's had to happen.
Whether people watching the stream sort of know my sort of prior life, but I have an interest in economics. I'm an economist by education, and I was working in the city, and I've always had an interest in economics, interest rates, and all that sort of thing. And people are seeing prices going up in the shops right now. I don't think we have seen even the tip of the iceberg of what's going to come over the next year or two. I think there's going to be serious supply disruptions on everything from not just food and everyday items, but airsoft, even just getting hold of fabrics to create ghillie suits is going to be really hard. And this is one of the reasons why one of the reasons we had a little bit of delay on bringing out the AGM is because we have managed to secure more than enough to see us through for many months, I believe, hopefully. And this is one of the reasons we've had a delay of a few days on it, because we've got so much stuff going on in the background to get all this stuff ready and secure our supply for you guys.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people who aren't manufacturers, designers, or in that sort of market presence sort of don't always see the work, because designing something is great, not a problem. You spend 100 hours, you design something great. You'll spend 200 hours finding a factory that can do it at a suitable price, at a suitable quality after God knows how many prototypes. Great, you've got a prototype. You spend another 20 hours working out who can ship it because it's Airsoft or it's something else, and then it is a nightmare. But the fact that you've got something coming out that obviously, I don't know what the price is. I don't know whether you guys want to talk about the price in a minute, but for the moment, I think that's answered that. And there's another one which it's not directed at anyone in particular, but Ed, as the newer player out of the three of us, you might be in a good position to answer this. So this is from Kenny. For those that don't know, Kenny runs Empire Airsoft. He's sort of saying, or he's asking, for people who don't play the sniper role yet, what's the best way to start? So how to get into it for the newbies?
Well, when I started, it was all about like making a sniper, but it's become.
Don't you say it? Don't that
2-3 years.
Don't that. You still
Anyway.
have to build a good rifle.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But you
don't have to get into it anymore.
Not to get into it. You can.
Conversation in South Africa. There was Christian, who's the son of the guy who runs the Airsoft League in South Africa. He was talking about wanting to get into sniping, and I personally, I'm looking forward to seeing what Ed says. But I think the answer now is really easy to know how to get into.
You can buy a Simer
stealth sniping
for like 80 quid, and it'll hop a 0.4. It will do okay. But as you were saying,
I disagree. I disagree on that one, Dan.
I disagree. I think do a bit of research, have a few shots if you can with like a mate's rifle, and see if you actually like the feel of it. I don't know. Get some idea from either the internet or the field if you actually like it, and then just take the plunge and buy a really good sniper like the Modify Scout. I know it's expensive, but compared to something like the SRS.
In recent years, Silverback and Modify have certainly changed, and Novritch with the original Mod 24, the SSG 24, and now the SSG 10. But I actually think the answer is a little bit more left wing than that to get into sniping. I actually think the answer is the SSX 303. It's cheap, it's ready to go, it lifts heavy balls, it's silent, you don't have to worry about cocking a bolt, and you've got a high-powered, heavyweight, silent stealth riff. We're not going to say the G word because of Facebook, but a heavyweight riff, and it's easy to use. It doesn't matter how big or strong you are, you don't have to cock that handle. It's good to go. I honestly believe that Novritch SSX 303 is the best entry point into stealth sniping.
So to elaborate, to expand that question a bit more, and go and just to sort of tee you up for where I think you're going to go with this, Ed, is I think with sniping, shooting is a very small part of it. Like, I think, like, you're on the right line there, Ed. I think borrow a gun. To your point, James, get an STTI MK, get a TM, get an SSX3, like, get any of those sort of almost sniper pistols, essentially, if they're upgraded, right? But even out of the box, they're fine. And just get a cheap hood, craft it, like, play sneakily just with your BDUs. And like, Ed, I think you were literally about to go on to the same point.
Yeah, I mean, it's the difficulty you have in persuading people to get the SSX 23 is that when people think of sniper, the first thing they think of is like a long-barreled riff with a big scope.
They feel safe, don't they? Yeah, they feel safe looking at that scope.
It's obviously airsoft, and we're firing BBs, and they don't need a huge system to propel that tiny BB. So pistols, if you can get a good one like the SSX 23, do just fine. Going back to what Dan was saying about like sneaky play in airsoft, like sniping, like I love taking a long shot if I can, and love using the bolt action, but it's all about getting to that position and being unseen, because you're at a huge disadvantage with a sniper. On most fields, most AEGs will only have like 10-20 meters less range. So you being unseen is like the main thing that you can.
Agreed.
Yeah. So I think that answers that for Kenny. It goes back to, isn't it?
The best entry into airsoft sniping is to buy AGM and craft up your suits, and you'll be super powered. That's the best way into it.
So the next one. So there's about 7 questions. So I'll run through some of them because some are for me. Will there be a Steyr Scout WASP? There kind of is. Grey Fox is running it. A guy called Jonathan May's running it, and I have one in mine. I've got it all working fine. I'm just tweaking the brakes, and I'm sort of having to make a bit of a commercial decision on it, because there's not, while it is popular on social media in terms of physically being out there in people's hands, it's not quite there yet, and it's a huge investment to source the amount of parts that I need to get to be able to bring it to the market reasonably priced. So it's sat there, and I've got a couple of prototypes. I think that's going to answer the second question. So it's there, it's potential. I mean, James, I might actually ask Gary if he can send you up one he's got, because I don't think he's gaming for a while.
I need it. I love that Steyr Scout. I absolutely adore that. But you know, a lot of people were like, when it first hit the market, people were thinking, oh, this is a bit weird. It looks a bit odd. It's got that strange bipod that looks a bit fragile, but it's not. It's super solid. It looks, when you got a nice suppressor on it, it looks sick. And when you ghillie it up, that bipod is actually super useful.
I think it's good.
Times. I think it's great. I've got nothing bad to say about that Steyr Scout at all. I think it's really, really good.
Next one is from Mark Brown. Hi guys, Mustang, have you never thought of running the MTW?
Yes.
Next question. See ya.
Short answer, I like it. Short and concise. Yes.
It's just too boring, isn't it? It's just too good, too boring, quiet, no drama. The thing I love about airsoft sniping is you've got the cocking. You cock it, you feel it, you take a single shot, and when you land it and you pink it off their head,
if
I'm a satisfying thing. But MTWs, you point it and you send out those BBs. They go exactly where you point it.
I don't know
there's no drama, and that's why I don't use it, because it doesn't feel the same as cocking and pointing and
as silly as it seems. My view on airsoft sniping is, I just feel, and this is me personally, maybe a bit of an inner geek, I feel it's immersive. Like, for those that don't know me, like on a personal level, I mean, actually, I doubt you guys even know this, but I trained and applied and got into the army, didn't bother going to college. Literally, I knew I wanted to get out of school for personal shit. I wanted to get out of school, get out home, join the army. So, and I knew that from the age of about 12. And my dad's side of the family were all military, so I always wanted to do it. And so I tried, like, and I was fat, I was asthmatic, like, I was just an unhealthy child. And I pulled my finger out and I knew, so for like from 12 to 16, I was just healthy. And then applied, didn't bother applying to college because I knew I was joining the army. Like, I was going to the Army Foundation College. And then literally school ended. 2 weeks after, I get a letter basically saying that upon review, I'm unable to join because in my medical records, I had a prescription for an asthma pump. And I had asthma when I was about 12. And then I stopped taking my pump and thought maybe I'll grow out of it because you obviously get childhood asthma. But my mother basically had a repeat prescription and she just kept it going year after year after year after year. And I failed on a technicality, even though I'd passed the medical. And I wanted to join infantry, or start as an officer, go for infantry. I wanted to do, obviously, the recon role, and like I had this dream that I'd tour and I'd ultimately end up in a Canadian or American sniper school. Never happened. So now I snipe in airsoft because I get to do a lot of the bushcraft side of it, like the stalking side of it, like learning, obviously you're talking about a BB gun, but you still have to learn how it shoots, how much does the wind affect it, like the ammo you're using, all sorts of things. So I've always enjoyed it from that point of view. So when I would tell people if they want to get interested in sniping, it would be going back to is it the long gun, is it the ghillie, or is it that you just want to hide and shoot people? And that's where I feel that MTW takes it away from me, because the MTW is great. I had one. I've got one. Obviously, Ed's got one. Like, a few of us have got one. Like, they're fun. It is like cheating because they're quiet, they're accurate, like they're really good, but it takes away from the experience, because if you miss with the MTW, you just go da-da-da-da, send 5 more down there. You miss with the VSR and SRS, you got to cock that bad boy again, fire and hope for the best. So I feel that for me, it's the immersion of it rather than having the long rifle or anything.
And that's why the videos work. That's why sniper videos work better than... That's why all the viral... That's why, well, not all, but 9 out of 10 viral airsoft videos are sniper videos. Yeah. Because it just feels better to watch and shoot. Yeah.
And just the way they're done is very different. Like, if you look at... I'm not going to name any names because I hate some of these people. But there's people that obviously do, like, really hyperactive videos. There's people that do, like, hardcore milsim videos. And they're not bad by any stretch, but they're just not as entertaining because you're just watching something that's just loud and ongoing. Whereas with sniping, you might just be watching someone staring, like Ed, like one of your videos. You're just sitting there, but you're taking shots, and people are wondering, like, you got into that position, and like obviously with yourself, James, like some of your really old videos from back when we first started talking, like your Jaws one, like that was cool. Like you were just sneaking around, like there wasn't, the only other person remotely doing it at the time was Bodge-Ups, I think. Like before, not for like it was, and it's immersive because it is slow, and you kind of feel like you're like, oh shit, that guy's walking towards this guy's camera. Like Ed, in fact, I'm going to show you a video in a minute, Ed, because I think people will like it. But yeah, next question. This is for both of you. I don't really get it. What strategy is more effective during the winter months while sniping? So I don't know if they mean in terms of camo or like keeping warm or just hiding. Either of you played in the winter?
Well, I'll finish his question off then, and we don't know if it's right, but whatever. So, in terms of concealment, like, what do you do in the winter, James?
PTFE tape.
Yeah, PTFE tape works for quick camo, for quick snow camo. But no, I guess I use KMCS brown, and I just dunk it in mud. Basically, I wear thermal layer, and I tend to wear a waterproof top, but I'll just dunk my KMCS in the mud and match it to the natural environment that way. Summer it's harder to. I do more crafting, but in the winter I do less crafting. Just dunk it in the natural mud and wetness. Basically, the only thing I do differently.
And yourself, Ed?
Yeah, and same as James on the winter, and then summer. Well, in the winter, I have to promote my product. You know, I use the winter crafting pack, but
we're talking about there's no snow.
But yeah, so I do craft in the winter, and then in the summer, I always try and keep it really like breathable, because I do run around a bit more, so adding too much is.
Yeah, I played into the 40s in Spain. I was playing it up 40. I think it was 46 degrees C, and I was wearing a KMCS, but it was uncrafted. That's the thing about the KMCS; it is very, very breathable, as long as it's not crafted. When you do craft the suits, they do lose some of that breathability when you put the cottons on and the mesh on, and raffia. It does lose the breeze and go through it quite so easily. So in the winter months, I tend not to be crafting quite as heavily, and if I play somewhere really hot like in Spain or Texas, my suit will be almost uncrafted with just a little bit of raffia, maybe a little bit of cottons or whatever, depending on the environment I'm playing in. Or I'll only put crafting on maybe my webbing, so my webbing, my GoPro straps. But in the summer I'll be crafting my entire suit. I guess that's the only difference, really.
I've just realised I'm so unhealthy that the mere thought of you playing at 46 degrees has literally made me sweat. That is how unhealthy I am. And I'm sat next to a ridiculously hot PC and a couple of monitors. And a stupid
it's so easy to play in that weather, though, Dan. It's so easy to play. The guns shoot so well. Springers shoot so well. That's probably my longest shot on camera was in those temperatures in Spain. I've got 115 meters on camera.
Yeah, obviously with the cold, you're fighting against, depending on obviously material, some bucket materials are inherently better. But yeah, for the most part, like you have to kind of wait for it to warm up, and if you take too long between shots, certain rubbers and polymers, because obviously there's loads of different buckets that use different materials and stuff. But yeah, in summer you can get some very good stuff. We'll ask one more, and then we'll come back, and then we'll carry on with AGM, because I know that's what people are itching for, all 75 of them. What's a good question? Not to say that everyone else's questions are crap, but just a relevant question. Oh, this is a good one, actually. I suppose all three of us can answer this. So you go first, Ed. So Gary asks, what is your current drive to continue playing Airsoft these days?
Oh God, that's hit me.
That's
a
good question.
Yeah, no.
It's contractually obliged now.
We're
working together. He's contractually obliged. If he stops making TikTok viral videos, then the contract.
He looks off screen to his lawyer.
Exactly. It's changed. So I played Airsoft for nearly 7 years before I started filming, and then recently, it's become more about that for me, and that's taking up more of my time. So I'd say like almost 50% of my life now is like with the crafting stuff as well. is Airsoft, which is pretty insane if you think about it. And obviously that then raises the question: is it a hobby anymore? So I don't know. Yes, it is still a hobby, but everyone remembers their first games of Airsoft as being the funnest, and because it's new. But I think if I've been playing 10 years already, another 10 years doesn't look that scary. So
my first game of Airsoft almost put me off. I was wearing it. My very first game of Airsoft, I was wearing a ghillie suit, and they had some stupid rule about if your BBs land near you, you had to take the hit. A field in East Anglia, and I almost said this Airsoft stuff. What a load of rubbish! I was thinking, if you're wearing a ghillie suit and you're shot out, then you have to take the hit. And I almost quit on my very first game in 2010. True story.
And after that, you were determined to make the best ghillie suit ever, and
here I am.
Yeah, like, I'll take that hit if it lands in the bush, if you know which bush I'm near.
Exactly.
So, is that bush connected to me? There's like a twig that crosses over. Is that bush my bush, or what?
It's done by acreage, Ed. If you're within the same acre, it counts. So the same question to you, James.
What keeps me playing?
Yeah, what's your current drive to continue playing Airsoft these days?
Trolls.
I was going to say, I know what one of them is. I think one of them is the same for both of us.
Absolutely adore them.
They're
my biggest fan. And if it wasn't for them, if they shut up, I'd probably quit. No, seriously, trolls.
You know what to do.
And for myself, I stopped Airsoft for years. I just had a bad run of everything Airsoft, so I kind of just binned it off for a while. But I've started to get back into it, and for me, I spend a lot of time on my own, as most of my friends will attest to. I've just had my fill of being on the wrong side of unpleasant people, to the point of where I like just being by myself, learning, designing, like doing things. But I realize, like, you can have a laugh like when we talk and stream and stuff, but sometimes I realize I miss out a lot. I hear all these great things and it's great to recollect them after. So I've sort of put myself back out to doing Airsoft, and I'm really lucky. I've got some friends that live near me. Obviously Ed's near me, and we went to lakes recently. I think I'm going there again this Sunday. So for me, it's sort of trying to, because a lot of my good friends that are sort of my friends now are Airsofters. Like just today I was speaking to Smithy. Obviously you guys know Smithy. I haven't spoken to Raiders. We were chatting today. Obviously you guys, Gary, Simon, who obviously unfortunately is no longer around in the Airsoft scene. But yeah, it's sort of just to connect with people, because I found that I fell out of talking to people.
There's definitely that. No, yeah, I mean, I joked about the trolls. There is, like, to go and meet. When I went, like, just recently went to South Africa, and just to meet those people, and the enthusiasm of people around Airsoft and people who watch my videos, it's really infectious. It's hard not to be infected by the passion of these people. When people come up to you and they say they watch your videos, and they get so much enjoyment out of it, and it inspires them to push their game on more. That inspires me to push my game on more. And so the community is actually really amazing. The worldwide Airsoft community is fantastic, and just the excitement of going to events, like going to Bear's Head. Like COVID for 2 years put a sort of brakes on a lot of things. But no, like, as soon as the airlines opened up, I was back out to South Africa. I've been waiting to go there. That was incredible. Looking to go to France, looking to go to Greece. I'd love to play in Italy, but I think they slow down over summer. I'd love to go back to Spain, and just meeting all those communities, and it's really inspirational. It's hard not to be inspired by it, and also it's just so much fun. Like, I love the people down at Phoenix. The Phoenix Airsoft community there is incredible. The people who run it, the regulars, the camaraderie that's down there, and just the fun of going out on a Sunday, running around in the woods, sneaking around, getting muddy and dirty, going home tired, having that bath and a glass of red at the end of the day, and seeing that footage, turning it into a video. It's the most incredible hobby lifestyle. And then by Monday, you're already working on something else, crafting suits. The seasons are always evolving. You're always moving your suits on, transforming your suits. Got gun repairs to do, riff repairs. And yeah, it's the ultimate hobby, isn't it? How can you not love it when you're into it?
Yeah, I think it's... Yeah, it can be very... What's the word I'm looking for? There's a very tactical word for it.
Immersive.
Insidious. Gets under your skin.
It
And
can,
it depends what you let. It depends what you let get under your skin. There's so much amazing stuff in the airsoft community.
Yeah, I think it's...
The hobby itself it's the ultimate boys' hobby, isn't it? You get out, you roll around in the mud, you play toy soldiers, you're fiddling with toys that get them to work better. You're messing around with your loadout, your clothes, your webbing, your equipment. It's almost 7 days a week you're thinking about it. It's the ultimate immersive hobby for boys and girls who are into that kind of thing as well, of course, or whatever gender they want to, is into it. It doesn't matter, but it's the ultimate immersive boys' hobby, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Right. So there is a load more questions, but we'll cover some more toward the end. So back to the AGM. So walk me through this. I think you are both in this picture, involved in this picture. So what's this?
So this is just to try and showcase like what it can do on its own. So it's actually not crafted on a KMCS, just because I actually didn't have a green KMCS at the time. So it's a bare mesh suit, and it was MO5 Woodland, which is that company you were talking about earlier from Finland.
There's the liquor.
Yeah. So they made this mesh, and then it's been turned into just a bare mesh suit, and yeah, so you see it working. Or maybe you don't see it working, but I think it does a good job. So there's 3 different colors: dark green, medium green, light green, and then also on that suit are some cottons. Those are actually not the cottons that will be in.
They're winter pack cottons, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they're the lightest shades of the winter pack cotton. Even then, they're still too warm. They're not bleached enough.
Okay.
So we're changing the cottons. There will be a few of those sort of medium darks cottons mixed in. So yeah, I think you've got a picture as well of the the pack in itself.
Yeah, so I've got 2 pictures. So this is, so for everyone in, this is what the summer crafting pack, right? This is what it's going to be ish, subject to change, maybe.
The
materials. They're the materials.
Yeah, the AGM won't be cut like that. It will actually be in ribbons, just because the process of getting all of those leaves cut is just going to be insane. But the cottons will be the same as the winter packs, sort of ready to put on. Those 2 cottons you see there actually are from the winter pack, but the new cottons will be a bit more bleached, and they're made, and then obviously green raffia is new as well.
I think I've got
coconut rope as well, although that's still.
Oh, there you go. That looks like.
Sorry.
That looks like an Edward hand cutting up some AGM. Where's the... I'm trying to find... Nope. There you go. So is that more akin to how it's going to be? In terms of how it's going to be cut?
Yeah, so that's like the stage I would get to before I start crafting. So I prepare on the table all those... The process of getting the pack to that stage you see there is very, very quick. You just need a decent pair of scissors. And you're up. So that's what I start off with. I think Mustang's the same. I've seen them do it pretty much the same way, like lay out little modules if you can.
Yeah, but this is obviously when you and me were together the other day doing some crafting related stuff. I'm the same. I like to lay down what it is I'm crafting and then get everything laid out sort of next to it in like groups of. Like I do mine different. I think I group mine by limb and then by. Like I like to pick a certain amount and chuck it down for one arm, but yeah, same as you. Everything gets sort of cut and pulled out of the box, basically. So obviously we didn't speak about this beforehand. So if you don't want to answer or can't answer, don't worry. But have you guys got a price in mind yet, or like a rough price or a rough release? I know it's soon-ish.
Price we got in mind, but I don't think we're going to say exactly what it is. We've got a few little calculations to make before we announce it, but I do think everyone's going to be very happy with it. I would say that.
And is
I do
it
think
close?
It's going to be smile-inducing.
Is it close as
So
in
is
terms
it
of
close?
yeah, as in release?
Yes,
Oh, yeah.
I think we're days away, aren't we?
Oh,
I can't say exactly, just because it's out of my
Hopefully.
hand. You know, I'm chasing people the whole time. I'm sending like
We should have some. There should be the materials being delivered to be put into the packs, depending on the courier in the next few days. It's on a pallet on its way to us.
yeah.
I'll be stealing some of that
yeah,
because I know where it's going.
It is days away. It's not weeks away. I think it's days away.
Okay. Well, I suppose some people probably already seen you guys because I think you've both put some content out about sort of how it looks with videos and things. So I think I've got a video here.
Come out.
Oh, there you go.
Kenny.
Come out.
Is that a Cobra cloak? KM cloak? Is that what that is?
Come out.
I think that's one of the unreleased kicking KMCS long Cobra cloaks.
Come out.
Yeah, I thought I saw one when I was down Empire the other day. I saw a crafted one and I was like, why haven't I got that? I've just got the normal hood.
Come
Yeah,
out.
we
The
never
normal
put it
hood
on the
is
website.
down
Yeah.
there. You won't see it because
Come
it's
out.
purple light, but I've got an uncrafted hood sat there and a box of KM crafting
Come
under
out.
it because I'm too lazy
There's a
to do
few
it.
lucky people who might have one of those. A few very
Come out.
lucky people who have managed to snag one of those.
Yeah,
Come out.
I like them. I like hoods. And then the next video, is that just a drop test? Ah, good old drop test.
Oh yeah, so this is a bear mesh, another different bear mesh, part of a full suit actually. Top.
What sort of mesh did you use for that one, Ed? Is it just like an olive green mesh?
Yeah, so it's not developed specifically for ghillies, but I did I've got like 40 different meshes from a company, so I had like a good selection, and I chose this one, and yeah, it turned out really breathable, strong. So this is probably something, if we can't get supply in Russia, there might be a small supply of these just for me to craft for people until we get the we
great,
did the crafting suits from your supplier. So yeah, so it came bare mesh and then very quick camo pattern, very rough.
It might be a fun idea to make, I was experimenting with that prototype design the other weekend with the pullover design. It might be quite fun to experiment with one of those using that mesh to make a kind of elasticated sort of pufferfish design to pull over ourselves.
Dude, it gets rid of all the shadows. I think the only issue with having like super there's the con camo droopy ghost hood they call it, and I genuinely think for airsoft that does present problems, because if you look at like how droopy it is off the arm, it's like a huge wardrobe kind of thing, and you're just never going to feel like we have to be honest. Like,
That's always been an issue with ghillie suits in general, hasn't it? In airsoft, that's something that some people. It's kind of a criticism of ghillie suits in airsoft generally.
Yeah, and I think it is kind of legit.
It is, yeah, I agree. I've had it a couple of times when I've been running and people said, "Hey mate, I shot you," and I'm like, "Oh, sorry, dude, I didn't feel it." Like sometimes it's hard enough as it is when you're running, but then you can level the same criticism at plate carriers. If you're running along and your stuff is jingling and jangling, and you hit someone when they're wearing all that equipment, they say, "Oh, sorry, I didn't feel it and I didn't hear it." It's the same criticism.
Yeah, I mean, I think hearing in airsoft is really important as well. Like just for the game of airsoft, like I cut big holes in my balaclava, and I'm in the summer months I'm wearing a boonie, so like there's nothing obstructing my ears. But the thing with all these fake leaves people are putting on their suits, the silk leaves, when you put too many on, they kind of touch each other and then they rub and they have that
babies
all the time.
Yeah.
And when you're
overcrafting is generally an issue anyway. It's super easy to overcraft your suit because you just get in. It's so much fun. It's fun crafting. You build it. You want to add more, and it does get. You build this super thick layer, and it just looks really cool. And you keep going, and it's like, wow, look at this thing building up. But most of the time, it doesn't add a huge amount of extra. I've heard some crafters use the word efficiency. And there certainly is an element of that a lot of people who build their ghillie suits are not efficient with material. They just bulk it up you don't need to have that much. You don't need to have that much, is what I'm trying to say.
Certainly,
yeah,
like
it's
the sides of the head and the shoulders. Yeah, you want to try and bulk that up because that's the sort of recognizable bit of the body that's always on show. But I see people like bulking up their legs to make their legs like twice as thick as what they started with, and
don't need to do that.
Just don't need to do that.
No.
Right, so I'm gonna go back and see some more questions. I think we've done all the pictures and clips, but I can tell you now there's a lot of questions and we still got time, so let's have a look, see what people have got. What's a good one? Josh Longton, which is Solitron Airsoft, isn't it? I was funny enough, me and him have been talking loads recently because obviously he does some stuff with Redline, and obviously I got the Redline kit for my birthday, so we've been chatting back and forth. He's actually going to be on one of my streams when we can work out time zones, because obviously we're on different sides of the world. But I don't sleep much, so I'm happy to be awake at 3. He's really, really nice. But he's asked, how can I get you guys to play at an American Milsim event in Colorado in October? For me personally, get James to pay. I've got a passport.
I'll be there. One Punch should be there as well. One Punch is from Colorado as well, isn't he?
Why have I heard that name? Has he got a little YouTube channel?
He was in South Africa. He was in South Africa.
Yeah, I think I must have seen it when watching some content. It just rings a bell.
Yeah, it's very cool. Very good player. Solid player.
This is an odd question, but it tickled me, so I'm going to ask it. What are our favourite flavours of pot noodles?
I like those gourmet kind of Japanese ones.
Oh, kabutsu? I think I know the ones you mean.
The pot noodle make their own. Like they've got these fancy ones. Yeah.
Mine, and this is a funny little story. So Paul, obviously we know Paul James. So when we were at France, I don't know if you'll remember this, but obviously everyone brought food and stuff. So like everyone was doing barbecues and things. I remember on like the Sunday, I was starving, and Paul's making coffee, and I go into our little barracks. I'm talking to him, and he gets out this pot noodle. And we went to the supermarket like on the Saturday night, and he got some eggs, and he cracked an egg into this pot noodle. And I was like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he was like, just put the lid back on it, boils it. I was like, "No, you're talking shit." Like, sorry, Paul, you talk shit sometimes, but I'm almost certain you're talking shit this time. And he was like, "No, look," with his grumpy face. If you know Paul, he always looks like he's really upset about something. And yeah, he just got this pot noodle out, and it had this lovely sort of chicken and mushroom flavored poached egg. So for me, it's chicken and mushroom with an egg. Ed, I think you missed that. What's your favourite flavour of pot noodle?
Glad I missed that. It's the green one. I don't know what it's
called.
Chicken and mushroom.
Chicken and mushroom. Yeah. Man of culture. What else have we got? This is an interesting question, actually. It goes back to what we were talking about getting started in sniping. So this guy, John O'Neill Wolf, asks, do you have to wear camouflage as a sniper?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with a no.
No, obviously you don't have to wear. There are plenty of people that run around without a ghillie suit on, and some people run around in black.
We call those people targets, by the way. Just targets.
I think you forget how much of a disadvantage you're at with a sniper, and like ghillie is the way to kind of balance that. But yeah.
Yeah, there's pros and cons, isn't there? Like, I think like one thing, and we're not going to end up on this whole complaints thing, but I think a common thing that gets said is that snipers obviously are overpowered, they have the advantage, blah, blah, blah. 9 times out of 10, if there's a crowd of people and a sniper, if those people are good and don't just stand there, whoever's that sniper is eventually going to lose. If they play well and communicate, and they just keep pushing, because if you're using a bolt action, so if we take DMRs out of it, if you're using a traditional bolt action, like a spring, not HPA or a bolt, there's only, I mean, you can practice to get pretty quick with it, but ultimately, if someone knows roughly where you are and they start hosing bushes, you're gonna get done. So the advantage, as you said, is to try and either move better, I think, like the other day, if you don't mind, can I bring up Lakes, Ed?
If it's the time that I shot you and you shot me, then yes.
I mean, you haven't shot me, so we'll carry on there. So me and Ed were at Battle Lakes the other week, and we were on the same team to start with. It was me, Bearded Airsofter, some of his friends, Kenny from Empire, and Ed. And so the first half of the day split into 2 teams, usual game, a little bit unbalanced because there was about 6 snipers on whatever colour we were on. So Ed and Kenny joined the other team. And we were basically at this bit where there's a bit of an opening on the left, there's like a fallen log, and then you sort of move into this little village. And I was on the outskirts by this tree, dinking people in the village. And then by pure chance, I just happened to move. And this round just cracks the tree next to me. And I'm thinking, there's only 2 people that's going to be. That's going to be Kenny or Ed. So I just run off, like ran one way, and then just did a J. Come all the way back round. No idea where Ed was. Like, not a clue. It was only when he moved, and I just saw a little bit of sun just touching his legs. Managed to get a little shot out that basically just tumbled with the weakest amount of power and just sort of rolled along and tapped him. I had no idea where he was. It was literally because I knew where that tree was. I knew where the shot come from.
I think the only advantage you have when you're sniping, really, is silence. You get a little bit more range, a little bit more, not much more. You get just enough extra range to make it worthwhile, and you get that. You need a silent gun, and this was always my criticism of the original SSG 24. It wasn't quiet. And it's probably my only criticism of the Steyr Scout. It's not out the box. It's not as quiet as it could be. But when you get a good bolt action tuned up with a WASP piston and it's silent, that is a huge advantage.
Thank you for the plug. Always appreciate it. I think Silly Ghillie runs WASPs as well. I would say that one of the biggest advantages of airsoft sniping is the mentality of how you play. Because if you put a ghillie on and you run around as if you're an AEG player, then you're not going to do very well. You can have the ghillie, you can have the long range rifle, but if you're charging, if you're not conscious of your environment, conscious of everything you're doing, like if you're stalking, like obviously the first sniper ops, literally taking like 10 minutes to walk 150 meters because you're like tiptoe, crunch, pause, look, panic, tiptoe, crunch. But you can get places undetected, or more so. Whereas if you just have all the stuff for a sniper, but you're playing like an AEG player, or you're just being a bit silly, I don't think you have any advantages. I think the main advantage is give an airsoft sniper, not that it's a real thing, but people who play that role, any gun, and if they've got a proper mentality of the bushcraft, I think they would do well with any gun.
Yeah. I'm going to use that Novritch SSG 90, whatever it is, SSX 90. You know, their P90's brought out.
Yeah.
I've got that lined up. I'm going to do a camo. I'm going to camo that up, and I'm going to put KMCS mesh on it. I'm going to cover it in AGM, and I'm going to make it because it's so compact. Imagine having an AGM enhanced suit with a really compact SMG like that P90, which punches really hard as well. With that dual trigger, it fires 30 BBs a second, and having that ability in a really compact form. Really lightweight without having any. Oh, it'd be amazing.
Foxy runs a modified P90, doesn't he? He runs a ghillie.
I thought a second ago we were talking about how boring the MTW was, but no.
Yeah, the MTW is silent. Yeah, the P90 is like.
Yeah, it's like a sewing machine, just sewing people up. No, but the No, I think you're right, Dan. I think it's that style of play. I did a blog a few years ago. I think it was like 2018 or something. I wrote this blog post, which was quite controversial, where I talked about stealth, being hidden, and being able to, as a ghillie sniper, an invisible ghillie sniper, you could be in more than one place at a time because people literally were feared where ghillie snipers were. And I talked about headshots and how nobody likes being pinged in the head or being just pinged in general. Nobody likes. If you know where the shots are coming from, airsoft doesn't hurt. You get shot with a load of BBs. It doesn't actually hurt if you know it's coming. What people don't like is when they get
startled
and they don't know. Whoa! And they get shocked because they didn't see it coming. They weren't expecting it. That is an advantage. And if you can flick people, I use the word flick because honestly, that's all I think it is from a BB gun. You get flicked by an airsoft sniper. People don't like it. It's not pleasant. It's not like something you wish on yourself, and you get flicked by it, and you don't know where you hit from. It changes the mentality of people. And if you're invisible and you're hitting the enemy team and you can move off and leave them guessing and they never know where you are, being not taken out, even if you hit only a handful of people, as long as you're not taken out, their morale is messed up because they don't know where they were hit from, who hit them, how to counter it. But if you take out, say, 3 or 4 people and they don't, and you hit them and they don't know where you're from, and they're then worried. That's much better if you sneak off and leave them guessing than if you take out 20 players and then they get themselves together, come back and blast you, and you're taken out of the game and you're no longer a threat. You're much more effective as a ghillie player to take out 2 or 3 players by pinging them in places that might make them think twice about coming again, and then disappearing off, then taking out 20 players, and for them to then figure out where you are and then come back and take you on. It was quite, I guess, in some Airsoft Justice Warrior discussion groups, this kind of idea is controversial, but I believe it is a genuine tactic.
Yeah, I agree. If you're playing a game, like hypothetically, all 3 of us rock up to a site with whoever, teams are split 50-50, we'll play a certain way, right? If we don't see any other snipers, we will play a certain way. When I was playing at Lakes, when Ed and Kenny were on my team, I played a certain way. The second I knew that sneaky bastard was on the other team, I was slow. I was panicking. My adrenaline was constantly going. Every time I heard a twig, I was like, broken twig or a missed shot. Like, it changes how you play. And I was concerned Ed was going to grab my bum.
We talked about this before. The veteran sniper ops players. We've talked about this. We genuinely love going up against each other. But what it turns into is like this: we go on different teams. Often when we turn up at sites, people go, "Oh my god, there's all those ghillie snipers! Break them up." They'll separate us, and we'll go on different teams because it's so unfair. So they'll separate us up, and then we'll go and we'll fight. We're not worried about all the other players on our team or their team.
You just hunt each other.
NPCs. The only things that matter are the other ghillie snipers, and it's like those NPCs. Oh, there's an NPC. Pling, plink, plink, plink. Take them out. But what I'm really worried about is Foxy's over there, or Ed's over there, or Hutch's over there. That's the biggest worry. And for me, that is the power of ghillie sniping.
Yeah,
it's also like when you're playing against another sniper, especially one that you know. There's always that like, who's. Yeah, it's competitive, you know.
Absolutely.
Nobody wants to be on Ed's famous TikTok videos doing silly dances, do they?
Yeah. Even if it's like, well, this is the crux of Airsoft. Why the main problem with Airsoft is that it's not meant to be competitive, and anytime you make it competitive, it kind of falls apart. But when you're playing against friends, you obviously know that you play fair, obviously.
I completely disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. I've seen what they're doing in South Africa. It's incredible what the Airsoft League in South Africa are doing. They've got like regional teams and national teams, and they have promotions. And they've got this app out in South Africa where you have to go to fields. You have to do so many hours to get qualified to use snipers. And when you get the sniper, you have to do training, and it geotags everybody. So if you go to fields, you have to put certain hours in. You can't just tick that you've been there. You have to actually go there, and it geotags that you've been there. And then they've got leagues, they've got regional games, and then they have competitions. It's really, really cool. And not only that, they're going to schools in South Africa. They're going to schools, and they're presenting it as a competitive sport. So they're going to these schools with like 12, 13-year-olds, actually younger. It was younger. They were 11-year-olds. So the Airsoft League South Africa is going around the schools there, showing all the kids what it is, how to play it, and the parents are like well up for this because their kids are getting out there, they're competing in this really cool game that's not Call of Duty sat on their chairs. And yeah, it can be competitive. So I completely disagree because I've seen it in action.
I think
you get what I mean though. Like,
it's just people take it too seriously when they think.
Problem with Airsoft is that you can't police hit calling. Like, we have to admit that cheating is a thing. And try and make it really like I've seen it in America with Speedsoft. So they have a black arena that's always the same, and they can recreate it at any place. And they have 2 high-speed cameras, like slow-mo cameras, and BBs with tracer units. So you see on the slow-mo each BB every time, and there's no way you can get caught. Like,
yeah, it's tricky. Hit taking is a funny thing because like half the time you think you've hit someone, you actually haven't hit them, and then half the time that they've been hit, they haven't felt it, so it's not actually cheating.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
I think, for me personally, it really depends on mood. Like if I've had a shit week, I'm kind of going to Airsoft to sort of socialise and unwind, and if I get a couple of good shots, great. If I get hit, not a problem. If I'm in a good place, and obviously that's one of my struggles is the balance of good, bad places, but if I'm in a good place, like when I was at Lakes with Kenny and Silly Ghillie, Ed, obviously when we were on the same team, it was great. But my little eyes lit up when I knew I was going to go up against Ed and Kenny. And Kenny, because he's a smug little shit, as you'll well know, James, I had to get him.
Kenny.
And I went for Kenny. Like I'd known Kenny for a while. I know how he plays. I know where he was going to go. And I got him. I hunted him. I baited him. I shot him in the face. I was happy. At that point, if I'd have been shot, I'd have been fine. And then it was Ed. And when someone's
like clubbing, shooting Kenny though is a bit like clubbing seals, isn't it? But going after Ed, that's a different animal.
The thing is, like even like Kenny when he used to do sniper ops, he's not necessarily the most stealthy player, but he repositions very often, and that makes him a hard person. Because when someone's just hiding well, even though you don't know where they are, you know an area to avoid or to approach differently. With Kenny, he just moves, so he'll have a shot, and that's it. He's gone. He won't sit there and go after players and sit in the same place. He's just like pew, runs off. Pew,
I haven't played with
back
Kenny.
somewhere else.
I haven't played with Kenny in France actually.
Played with him quite a few times now because we played at Dog Tag. He's what was he like? We were teamed up together and we were on a sniper mission where we weren't allowed to engage the enemy because there were rules of engagement, and it was meant to be a 4-hour reconnaissance mission. And I basically said to him, after about half an hour of waiting, we did actually get shot at. We basically said, "Let's just go in." So we were just playing together there, but I don't know what to say, Kenny. If he's watching, we're all talking about you, so I'm quite self-conscious.
So back to some more questions then. So Ryan, bearded Airsofter, he said, "Oh, this is a good question. I think this is open for all of us. This is going to cause some problems. Which rule do you believe should be removed from all sites?"
I know what Mustang's going to say. You're going to say the gun hit rule because you've been on about that.
Gun hit rule should be turned to like barrel hit. Gun hit rule is a mutation of a rule that was like barrel hit shouldn't count. If you're shooting out of a building, you're coming around a corner and your barrel is hit, I get it. If your barrel is hit, take your gun out of action. I get it. You stick your gun around the corner and your barrel's hit, gun hit, it's gone, and draw your sidearm. But generally in woodland games, get rid of that damn thing.
See, I like it.
Why?
I was at Lakes literally the other week.
Why?
And I was with Ryan, and basically Ryan and this guy were having like a little duel. So Ryan was tucked up. This guy had already been taken out, so he knew where Ryan was. They were shooting. He got Ryan. He starts running. I shoot. I hear the contact of it hit his gun. And then I just assumed that he was not going to take the hit. And I was waiting for him. And because I was waiting for him to pop out his rifle, he was behind this bit of cover. And I thought, well, if he's got his rifle, he's only going to fit through there. And as he shouted gun hit, he dropped to his pistol. And then we just had a little pistol draw, and I thought it was great. I don't see a problem with it. My gripe with it is when people think a gun hit should be a kill. Take it out of the game. Take your gun out of the game until the next respawn or till you go back to your fob. It shouldn't be a hit.
Well, in that case, then, if someone hits my leaf, I'll take my leaf off my suit and say I'll put a new leaf in.
It's fine. You want to waste time? That's fine.
Leaf hit. Sorry, shoelace here. I'm just changing my shoelace and put my shoelace, dipping the shoelace.
I don't mind it. I think it shouldn't
glove
be
here,
policed.
Take the glove off. Glove gone. No,
but
come on.
From an immersion point of view, I'm with it. What about you, Ed? What rule do you hate?
Immersion. What
rule do I hate?
It really grinds my bones, doesn't it? It's really triggered me. I hate the gun hit rule. Like,
the thing about the gun hit rule is like you wouldn't expect it to really be a problem, but if someone's like lifting up over cover, like 50% of that target often is a gun. So you have to like aim. You can either aim underneath at the chest if there's like a little spot, or you can aim. But the gun is like taking up 50% of the target. So I do often
LBW.
Yeah, well, yeah. I just it's simpler as well because
dumb. Yeah, it's just a dumb.
It's
rule.
simpler. I'm not. I don't. I just think that there's other rules that are a lot more upsetting than just a simple gun hit.
What's no? I didn't answer. So what's the rule I would get rid of? I think I would get rid of. Oh, this is probably a local issue, but it's a lot of southeastern sites have started adopting this rule. It's the green smoke. Like green smoke counts as gas. Toxic gas.
Yes, that's a good rule.
It sounds like a good rule, but
it
it's
is
just,
a good rule.
It's a big problem because when like smoke doesn't just vanish completely, it kind of slowly dissipates, especially if it's like a still day, and then you get people arguing, is the smoke thick enough? And then they say, oh, well, if you can smell it, you're dead. But the thing is, you can smell it like half an hour after you threw the smoke grenade if it's a still day. I don't know. It's just, I think that rules.
I get it. I get where you're coming from. I think, obviously, you could pick any rule, though. Even rules that we're happy with, you could pick it apart to some degree. With the gas one...
Keep it simple. Airsoft should be simple.
Smoke in buildings. I think if they said, if you're in a structure, that smoke goes in that structure is off limits. If there's an objective in there, you've got to get out. Yeah, I think that's simple. Keep it. Like the rule I always find funny that no one ever does. Grenades. If you're within 5 meters, you're dead. The fuck? I have seen people look at a grenade, stare at it, take it out for dinner, and still not accept that it's blown up like 2 feet from them. Like that rule, use pea grenades or the ones that are filled with stuff. Because people are just like, oh, there's a grenade. I'm just going to hide behind this leaf. Yeah, measuring grenade distances is like people that say their gun shoots 120 meters. Oh, yeah, that grenade is miles away. It's literally under your foot. No, it's miles away. Grenade deaths are...
behind that tree, which is an inch bigger than me, so I'm safe.
Yeah, the grenade one, I don't hate it, but I get annoyed by it.
Like, so we should probably get back to the questions, but one last thing that seems to be everyone talking about is like ammo limits. What do you think? For us, it's not an issue. I've never had an issue running out of ammo with a sniper, but what do you think of like ammo limits?
It depends. If it's a skirmish, no. People are there to have fun, let them carry and rattle all they want. If it's something like a battle sim or something that's a little bit more serious, I don't mind it. It's another element to the game. Like obviously, I'm used to doing sniper ops with James, so we're used to going out with 10 rounds in a rifle and 10 rounds in a pistol and lasting all weekend. So I like the challenge of it.
I think a lot of problems in Airsoft are rooted in high cap mags and everyone just full autoing and spraying constantly. So people think if they just get a little flick by BB, they kind of tend to ignore it unless they get full autoed. And that's what high caps bring to the game. They mean that people are kind of expect to get lit up with a load of BBs. And I think a lot of issues with hit taking can be rooted in high cap mags. I think if everybody, I actually think Airsoft would be better if every gun was real cap mags only. I think that'd be amazing to go to an event where it was real cap mags only.
I agree. I think real caps are good. My gripe with high caps, similar to you, James, is people... I mean, I like it because it's great to hearing people coming a mile away because they do rattle. My gripe with it is... I can't remember the last site I went to. It wasn't Lakes. It might have even been ASGB. Someone, like, top of their lungs was screaming they hit me. But they're running a drum mag. And they've not wound it. So their gun's just churning away. And it sounds completely different. And I was literally that confident. I was like,
there's me saying everyone should be using.
Depends on the game, though. If everyone is running,
got a 1500 round mag, which Kenny, if you're watching, I need 1,500 .48 BBs, please, for this MP9.
Yeah, it depends. Like that's fine if you're going up against a team that all has high cap mags. It would just be cool. I think. There are lots of sites that run only mid caps or only like semi only.
I hate high caps. I think high caps should go. They're loud. They're annoying. People forget to wind them. People dry fire. I think they've hit you.
One of the cool things people like about Airsoft, and it's quite hard to get rid of, is full auto. Like you don't get that in paintball, and people seem to sort of covet the full auto thing. So
I don't mind full auto.
I don't. Yeah.
Full auto's fine as long as everyone's got real cat mags.
Yeah, you really have to. But maybe I'll just put like we'll move on off this, but just as like a realism thing, like airsoft is nothing like a real gun, so maybe like a high cap makes up for that in the sense.
It's convenience. That's literally all it is.
By volume, I know.
It's literally convenience. But going back to questions, which one did I just see? Oh, this one is for you, Ed. So George McCartney asks, Silly Gilly, what do you use to cover your ears or camouflage when you cut holes in the balaclava to hear better? We had this conversation the other day, didn't we, Ed?
Yeah, there's nothing. It's just like I'll have a bit of AGM hanging off the balaclava, and that'll create a shadow on my skin, and that skin is then... It's only a very small part of your body, and the holes aren't big. They're not like... They're probably... They're just little holes for the ears, so you don't ever notice it. I mean, in that picture there on the screen, I've not got anything over the ears, and obviously my boonie's covering it. So it's very rare that your ears are gonna give you away. I think. Takeaway
from that: use AGM to make a little ear curtain. Yeah. Oh, this goes back to that rule we were talking about earlier. So this is from Richard Galloway. He, by the way, is the guy from Otar Airsoft who's got that cool MK23 kit I was showing you at Battle Lakes.
David, Richard, quite a lot.
Yeah,
he plays at Imperium the whole time.
Yeah, he said he goes to Imperium. I do need to come up there. But anyway, he asks, what are your thoughts, to the pair of you, on airsofters spraying bushes to hit a ghillie they can't see? Oh, this is going to kick the hornet's nest, isn't it? I can see James's little brain ticking away. He's outraged.
I'm just making sure Kenny's seen my request for 1,500 .48 BBs for my MP9 drum mag high cap.
I don't think people do it as often. Like the only time I get sprayed when I'm in a bush is if I've moved into that bush or they've spotted me. I really don't think anyone thinks there's ghillies on the field, so I'll just spray every bush. I've never seen that. Maybe. Yeah.
I'm going to take that point, Ed, and I'm going to just pose a scenario they're all going to be familiar with. So you don't think people will just shoot into a bush? Have you ever seen an airsofter walk past a puddle or a pond?
Without shooting it.
Without shooting it. Like, have you even airsofted if you haven't just unnecessarily shot a puddle or a pond?
Yeah.
And you think they're not going to go, could be someone in there.
Oh my God, and what about when we run the sniper ops alongside skirmishers and you put the targets up?
And they just spray it.
And they just say, oh look, there's a paper target there. Let's fill it full of let's empty half our high cap into it.
You're like, who hit the target? Apparently about 400 people.
I was actually talking to shooting things. I was actually fiddling with my gun once, just crouching. This is a true story. It happened at Invicta. Fiddling with my gun, not really moving that much before the game had started. The game wasn't in play, and someone just came up behind me and full autoed me in the head, and they genuinely thought I was a bush. So people like to shoot bushes.
Exactly, people do.
Right.
Yeah,
we need to do more. We need to do another sniper ops game. Should we do one at Phoenix?
Well, I've got a venue. I know we talked about this, James.
But, oh yeah, we did. Yeah, your cousin.
Yeah, it's a really good place for it as well. I don't know if Dan's seen it. I know Kenny has, but
I haven't seen it. Kenny's mentioned it to me about it, and obviously I spoke to your cousin about it.
It's cool.
Oh, excuse me.
I've never done a sniper ops, but I've heard so much about them now, and I think it would be ideal.
Yeah, I think if you do one, we should definitely do one with you, Ed. Yeah, for sure.
Kenny's still the reigning kill leader with his little lone wolf badge, isn't he? That was the last sniper ops we all played.
Yeah.
Although, Sam, I think we're the reigning winners, James. I think we've still won the most games because we won both our games.
It's been so long. To be honest, it's been so long since we've done the 24-hour one because, well, one, I was banned from Apocalypse, and that was the last place we'd run the 24-hour ones. But we haven't done one for so long, mostly, I guess, because of YouTube. Really, it's very hard to turn that stuff into content, and hold my hands up. The YouTube thing, I absolutely adore making videos and editing and creating this cool content for YouTube. And it's very hard to turn a sniper ops event into that, and to do a sniper ops event,
it's hard work in itself.
Yeah, you've got it's a week long endeavor to prepare it, organize, get everyone together, and then to run the event.
I mean, I think
hold my hands up. It's, the YouTube thing has kind of stopped that.
I think we
should definitely do one.
We should put like an hour aside on the day as like a sort of a blogging opportunity and just discussions on camouflage and a bit like this, but out in the field, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, maybe we should ask Heartless to come along because he's very good at recording, and maybe we can. I'll speak to Heartless, see if he can come along, and he can get a lot of footage together, and we can mix all that together with talking about the event and how what we're getting out of it and what goes into it and the tactics and the story of what happened during the 24 hours. I think we should do it.
I've just put, for those that are in the chat, that link I've just put in is from the first Sniper Ops that I ever did with James, called Coyote Ops. And I did a huge write-up on it, like the day I got home. I did write everything on it, and if you're interested in reading it, it's a really good read. It will show you the stress and the anxiety that goes into a Sniper Ops. But it's a good read.
That was good. Yeah, that's a good blog, that one.
Right, there's just a few more questions. So yeah, if we sum it up about 9:30, that's a good hour and a half. What?
Kelly was asking who is the most aggressive, James, Ed, Kenny, or Heartless? I'm the most aggressive when I'm pissed off, definitely. But Ed is probably the most aggressive player. He pushes forward more.
Yeah, I remember the first time I played with you before, but came up to No Man's Land, and I remember you saying, "Oh, you play differently to me. You like to push up and run." I was like, he thinks I'm not a sniper. He thinks I'm not a sniper. Yeah, I do. It's true. I'm not impatient, but I just think if you're gonna like No Man's Land, I don't know if it's very open in places, and I just think if you're gonna get to the flanks, it's better to.
I like that field. I really like No Man's Land. I think it's a really good field for sniping.
It is. I would definitely. Next time I come up north, my plan is to find the Saturday game, because I know they do Saturdays. Go Saturday there, and then Phoenix Sunday. So.
Yeah.
All right, so another question.
I like No Man's a lot. Yeah.
That come in, which is from Richard Galloway again, is it worth taking 2 sidearms, 1 full auto and 1 silent?
Well, you can't now at the place you play, mate. I don't. I like to run around, as I just said. So carrying 2 sides, like the heavy, you have to carry more mags for each of them. Hachi, on the other hand, he carries 2.
Yeah,
I often carry 2 sidearms. I often carry the MK23 and a cross draw with 1 spare mag and then a gas blowback on my hip. The gas blowback is in case you get like rumbled and you need to pull it out. The gas blowback is the quickest way to get rounds.
Yeah,
downfield in a quick draw holster, whether it's a Black Hawk or a Kydex. You get that gas blowback pistol out, you can get 30 rounds onto target quicker than anything else.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same as James, and ironically, a lot of the Sniper Ops guys, back in the day, we all used to run 226s, but I will run cross draw MK, and then I've got a USP compact, which, in my opinion, is probably one of the best pistols TM's ever made.
I think so too.
Ridiculously effective. It's short, it's snappy. Lightweight, the mags are small, but still hold 26 rounds.
Have you noticed it lifts? Like I use .4s in that thing out of the box.
Yeah, out of the box they are. I mean, I've got a Flamingo and a Crazy Jet in mine, but without those 2 upgrades on 4s, absolutely fine. And even in hot weather, maximum, it still only sits at 1.1 joules, and it's about 0.9 joules every other time of the year. So it just works.
I've not upgraded mine at all. My USB compact by TM is. I haven't got Flamingo in there. I've not got a Crazy Jet. I've got nothing in there at all. It's completely standard. Yes, I agree. I think I love the HK45, but the hop doesn't compare. That USB hop is amazing.
Oh, can you show that on stream? That's not going to get us taken down, is it?
Nah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I got a little pink in there. You won't see it. But yeah, it's teeny. It's like tiny. I like it. It's comfortable. It's just generally all round good. And there was one more question about DMR. There we go. So this is from Josh Longtim, and he's saying, what's our opinions of DMR class bolt action rifles for tagging players at 50 feet instead of 100.
Sorry.
What are our thoughts on DMRs? Because obviously you've got a shorter engagement range usually. You're less power, but less engagement range. I think he's saying, what do you think is? Do you think there's an advantage to it?
Make them accurate, like as accurate as a bolty, just because there's so many more components and inconsistencies, and like you're heating up the hop, so the hop does different things when you repeat.
There's not much. Yeah, when I went to Texas, the rules at their milsim I thought were amazing for the riffs. So bolt actions, I think they could go to I think bolt actions were 3.3 joules. It was over 3 joules measured on a 0.3. The semi-autos without an MED were 1.7 joules measured on a 0.3, and then that was semi-auto. But then you could have full auto gun, which was 1 joule, and it had to have a mid cap, but it was 1 joule, and you could be full auto. So I chose to go for a Redline. I used the Redline HPA M4 at 1.7 joules on a 0.3, but I put 0.4s in it, and it dual creeped to 2.3 joules with no minimum engagement range. That was the best experience I think I've had with riffs. Bolt actions were well over 3 joules, but the difference in the distance you get between a 2.3 joule,
not a lot. It's
M4,
times target.
It's not. There's very, very little difference in terms of maximum range. So I was using that 2.3 joule M4 at that milsim in Texas, and you could see the range I was getting, and you had no MED as well. I thought it was incredible. I had so much fun in that game.
I like DMRs.
Me, there was no problem with hit taking. Like, you hit someone at 2.3 joules from 5 feet away, they're taking it.
I mean, from 5 feet away, I'd be impressed if they didn't take it. If they looked at me and denied being hit, I'd shake their hand and say they've got some weird fetishes, and I would not want to be in a relationship with them.
Rules. And to have full auto, the only way you can have full auto and full auto indoors with an SMG class was with 1 joule.
I don't mind full auto. Cool. I've played at the mall. I've played CQB. I've done tunnels. Like, full auto indoors, it's an interesting experience, but it's fine.
When you were in a building and you saw an SMG squad coming towards the building, you're like, oh my god, SMG's coming in. You if you were only semi-auto, you had a massive disadvantage to somebody coming in with a 120, 150 round mid-cap full auto.
Right, so the last question then, and this is again just for you two because no one cares what I think, is how well would the AGM work with a Novritch Amber Ghillie?
AGM is going to work on anything and everything, but I think the Novritch Ghillie suit, I like the base material. It's quite strong, but the camo color and pattern.
Amber's horrible. It's literally that cheap Amazon AliExpress pattern. I hate it. To be fair, you can dye it and put a lot of effort into it.
You have to dye it. And we always said, even if you roll the clock back 10 years ago and you could pick up that same pattern on very, very cheap Chinese suits, you would pick it up and it was a budget way into leaf suit sniping. But we would dye it, we'd colour it, we'd spray paint it.
Yep.
And it's the same with the Novritch suit. But the Novritch suit, the base material is strong, but it needs colouring.
Every single leaf on that suit has quite a bit of white on it.
On the tips.
And it's not like the KMCS where you might want to kind of ink little sections and create the different
macro patterns. Yeah,
I didn't want to say it, but it's not like that to recolor the whole of one of those suits. I mean, I've seen them on field and I see them the whole time, and people send me messages asking what do you think of my Novritch suit? And the thing is, they've crafted it and they can't then ink it, and I just don't know what to say. And it's a really tricky conversation because they've obviously spent all that money. And
I think if we ran the clock back 5 years and that suit was available on the market 5 years ago, we would be like, yeah, this is cool. We're going to buy this. We're going to color it. We're going to ink it. We're going to dye it, and then we're going to craft it.
Yeah.
If it was 5 years ago, but I think now it's hard to it's a good quality material. I believe the base material, the leaves shred very easily. And I can't be any more honest than that. 5 years ago, we'd have gone, yeah, okay, this is a cool suit, we'll use it, but we need to dye it and color it and then craft it. And that's how I see it. I see it the same now. Yeah, I see it. That's how I see it. You've got to do stuff to it. You've got to dye it. You've got to color it. You've got to ink it. You've got to spray it, and then you've got to craft it. The colors are okay as a base, but it's even got black in it. Like even the leads have even got some black in it. I never want black on anything.
They have got different colors. I think they've got now 3 different colors.
Yeah, they've got ATP. They've got
Crush. I can't pronounce it. It sounds.
Krudzer.
Oh, their new German thing's quite interesting, isn't it? Yeah, the sort of tiger.
It's literally Vietnam tiger.
Yeah,
tiger stripe crossed with the sort of German colours. I think that's quite cool if they've got the ghillie suit made out of that. I think that would be a good base, a better base than that amber. I think they call it amber.
Yeah, they've got amber, ACP, and I think they've got ATAX. I don't know if they have any more. They had some ATAX stuff. There was one more question, and then we'll sum it up. Where was it? Trying to tick them off as I've been going. That's what's related. Oh, here you go. Ed, when will you be investing in a GoPro 360?
Is that Gary that asked that?
Hutchie.
Hutchie. I don't know. I don't feel like I need one yet. Although watching some of Mustangs and Camans vids, they do make it look very cool. It's so heavy. That's the thing. It's like everything.
I don't use it. I use the I use the 360, don't I? Which is lighter and smaller.
True, but I would want if I wanted to do it. I want to do what Foxy does, and he has it like the drone thing. So he has it extended past the barrel, and the actual camera is invisible when it's pointing at him. So it looks like there's a drone following him around if he holds his rifle like that. I just think that looks awesome.
It looks cool, but here's my honest opinion on that. Even though you think it gives a better field of view and it's cool, I actually think it takes away from the immersion of it. Did you see my new video that went up last week? There was no selfie camera. There was the 360 camera was used wasn't like the sort of droney kind of way. It was like just close-ups of my face or close-ups of the bolt cocking, and it makes it more immersive. And so in terms of making videos, I actually don't think the 360 camera uses a 360 giving this kind of view of everything. I don't think it adds. I think it detracts from the immersion. My opinion.
I agree, and I mean, if I was to do it, it would only be for like the cinematic music video kind of shots, not the gameplay where you're there. So I think
it's just my opinion. That's just my opinion.
No. We discuss, me and you and a few others, like we discuss these things till they're dead.
Well, on that note, is there any closing notes? Is there any groups that people should be joining if they're interested in cameras, perhaps? Or is there a particular sniper-based group that people could benefit from that's got 8 years of knowledge on there? Anything you suggest to people?
Check out the Sniper Ops group on Facebook before Facebook close it down, which it probably will one day, despite it being there forever, with huge library of information, guides, how-tos, videos, blogs, all organized in the unit section. There's also the Kicking Mustang Discord server, which is actually a very cool place to be. And there's if you're into filming airsoft, the Filming Airsoft Facebook group is very cool as well. Any other groups you guys recommend?
Like if you're specifically wanting questions about a rifle, then there are some specific groups like the SRS group and the VSR group. I mean, the people on there generally, although you have to this is the thing about reading comments on the internet, it's impossible to know if someone knows what they're talking about. But generally, those comments and if you make a post, they will be well informed.
What you'll find on Facebook is a lot of regurgitated incorrectly information, or people quoting stuff that is just very out of date or unproven. but there's just so much on the internet. Like you've got obviously there's my blog, you've got SniperOps, obviously you've got the pages you mentioned. Just look at everything. If you ever need to know anything, don't just watch one video on YouTube or read one post and go, oh, that's great. Don't, because you'll find 9 other posts saying how wrong that first thing is, or vice versa. But that, I think, is everything, guys. We've covered the AGM, we've spoken about tactics, ghillies. One little thing.
AGM out soon, boys.
This is
out very, very soon. That's the important thing, I think, right? That's what me and Ed are like consumed with at the moment, getting this thing. First of all, at Empire, it's going to be released in the UK first at Empire, and then we're going to get it into shops worldwide, to any shops that want it across Europe and the world. I do think you guys are going to, and if you're into ghillie crafting, I think you guys are going to absolutely love this product, and I think it's going to be, I think the price is going to be pleasant for all of you to enjoy.
I'm going to show one final vid because I forgot to show it, and it was Ed's, and I think it's good, and it shows you how good placement and a good ghillie can do. This is the one I put on here earlier. I've just got to remember which one it is because I've got so many pictures and shit. Oh, here you go. It might be loud, if so, I'm sorry.
It's a legendary video.
Let's watch this. Here we have the ghillied Donald hiding.
That's a spotted silly ghillie.
Here we have him taunting his prey. Nipples a mess. The guy doesn't understand where he is. He's in. Oh, but he's out. Oh, but he is back in. You've got to admire his willpower. Like, these sort of videos, you could just out and grow over them. They're just... Oh, the frustration sets in, but it hasn't helped. The poor man's out again. Ed, quietly laughing to himself, feels quite proud. Well, there we go. Well, thank you guys for joining. Thank you for everyone who obviously watched it. Yeah, it's good. I'm going to try and get back into... I always say this, and then life gets in the way. But I'm trying to get into it. I need to sort out a fan, though, because I am a sweaty mess. Ridiculously sweaty. It's so hot in here. Lights and screens everywhere.
I've just been looking at this and thinking if I wasn't wearing a ghillie, that shine would give me away.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bald head now, so I have to wear a hat or a ghillie, otherwise you'll see me from the moon. But yeah,
thanks. Just turn the lights off to deal with that.
Yeah, there you go, James. Little peek for you. Ready? Ooh, ooh, ooh! Off it's gone. It's gone.
Yeah. Well, I'll soon be joining you. So
I thought shaving my head off would make my life easier, but now I've got to moisturize it and suntan it. Like, suntan it? Sun cream it. I was like, yeah, I'll just get rid of it. Be fine. No.
Under the balaclava.
Yeah, I mean, now, I was going to say I've got no hair to soften it, but I haven't had hair to soften it for about 2 years. But anyway, James, thank you for joining. Ed, thank you as well.
Pleasure.
Everyone that joined the stream, stuck around, like, I hope you enjoyed it. This will get saved to Facebook in okay quality, but I will be putting it on my YouTube in 1080, maybe 1440p. Can't remember how I formatted it. But yeah, leave a comment, go follow Kicking Mustang, go follow Silly Ghillie. As James said, Empire's going to have AGM.
Days away, boys. Days away, boys.
Yeah, TikTok for both. I don't know if James is on TikTok, but TikTok and YouTube for Ed.
Everyone knows the message is saying it's it is coming, but yeah.
Okay, well, thank you everyone. Enjoy, and
boys.
hopefully see you guys in the field.
Thanks for joining.
Bye bye.